You just can't compliment them, man. You just can't. You really just cannot compliment this group. And this is why the last post game and every single time they win, I say, and people get pissed at me, but I say it every time they win, great, build on it. Let's see it be something that's sustainable. We either look back at the win as a turning point, or we look back on it as just a day at the office where they happen to grab a win. And this is exhibit number 1,000, over 1,000. Like, this is further proof, yet again, that we need to wait and see them string this together for multiple games before saying they're back. And for a bit in this game, I thought maybe they're back. But even if they won this game with the way that it was trending, I would have been pumped up about it, because I would have said, with the way they played the first period, genuinely the best period of hockey they've played since October. And that's not hyperbole. Maybe even of the season, that first period. And then in typical fashion, foot off the gas the rest of the way through, which, again, not something that a cup team has in their DNA. But after that first period, I was going to say, if that kept up through the entire game, and I would have got shit for it, but I was going to come to this microphone and I would have said, great win, building off of what they did against Pittsburgh, looked better defensively, and now we have to see it translate to the better teams, and that's the true measuring stick. But now, chuck it all out the window because the defensive effort went completely out the door. I do not understand why and how, because there were so many things that you could have looked at as positives in this game until everything went south. Because in that first period, they were doing so many things right. The only issues I really had in that first period was the fourth line wasn't playing great hockey. There were a couple of turnovers on the breakouts. But outside of that, I thought they played better in the neutral zone. Thought the top nine played some of their best offense they have of the season. And in particularly, they were able to forecheck in that first line, especially with Zibanejad, Kreider, and Smith. I thought they continued what they did against Pittsburgh. And I was going to come here and say, this is, again, building off of what they did. Let's see it continue before we start to celebrate here. And then they allowed that goal. They allowed the goal, and then they respond by getting two. And I was going to say, wow, something that we haven't seen from this team, because usually after they get scored on, it's sulking, it's we're out of this, and it's done. Then they score two goals, and I was going to sit here and say, wow, this team actually showed some guts by responding after getting scored on. Like, that is a positive thing to take away. But then, after they allowed those goals late in the second period, chuck it all out the window, because the defense, back to what it's been most of the season, they allowed it to break them, and we saw the fragile team that we've seen throughout the first 26 games of the season thus far, and it continued into today. And I cannot for the life of me understand how this team has no structure in the D zone. It's incredible. And I've been throwing the term out there, everyone has, but I especially been throwing out the term pond hockey with this team. I've been saying that nonstop, that's been the way they've been playing. And this was another latest example where they get these high-scoring games every now and then, but the defense is still non-existent. More times than not, they find ways to win with the high scoring, but not today. Just not today. And you could say that a lot of the offense was able to happen because of Grubauer, because Grubauer blows, by the way, and he clearly was hurt from that little collision with Hedl. It's just they didn't want to put an E-bug in, which, if the E-bug came in and the Rangers lost this game, I would have turned into the Joker. But that's besides the point. They didn't want to take him out, and that was another thing that I didn't love, if I'm going to say anything about the first period, is that there was clearly an opportunity there to score more in the first period because Grubauer could not recover a rebound to save his life. He was leaving everything for them, and they didn't do enough to fire pucks on net. They didn't do enough to capitalize on the rebounds that were out there. And sure, you could credit Seattle for clearing the net front at points, but there were opportunities, and that's how they scored the Riley Smith goal. They needed to continue to do that, and they just did not do that at all. And then even in the D zone, I thought, again, a little bit better. Like, even though they were struggling on the breakouts in the first period, there was a lot better puck support, and there was a lot more of emphasis on keeping Seattle's play to the outside. And again, I can't understand why it happened, but we fast forward to the second period, and out the window we go with this. It's just pathetic. It really is. The power play goal, just not good either. Chandler Stevenson, I mean, he was all over the ice for Seattle today. But on that goal, Mika had the block a shot. He lost his stick there. And Miller leaving his position in the box. And it opened up way too easy of a lane. Fox getting down on one knee there. And then the writing's on the wall. But again, they responded. And I was going to say, wow, I'm actually proud of the way they responded. Philip Hedl with a disgusting goal, by the way. Making it happen in the D zone. I thought he was going to lose the puck there, I'll be honest with you. But gets out of it. Feeds it up the ice. Cooley and Kakko do their work. They find Hedl, and he rips a beautiful goal. And then they get a power play not too long after, and they score again. Fox fired it wide, and then it just set up an opportunity for Kreider to get it to Trocheck, although I don't know how Kreider didn't get an assist here. But either way, Grubauer cheating out of the net, and you score there. And then after that, it was just, again, hell broke loose. Hell broke loose. Tanev, who was all over for Seattle tonight, or this afternoon. Just too much time and space. Too much time and space. Lindgren chasing and stick checking. And Fox went behind the net too. Mika's got to cover the net front there. Mika's got to get to the net front with both defensemen behind the net. And it let Tanev get an opportunity to score. And we saw what happened. Tolvanen ends up scoring too. Just cannot get the puck in deep. Just terrible. And then you get to the third period, a minute in. Dunn scored that goal. You knew the writing was on the wall there. Another easy entry, which again, I was complimenting the way they played in the neutral zone. It all went away. He walks by Lafreniere and Miller. Everybody's stick checking the world, and Vince Dunn puts it on goal. And then that Shane Wright goal, you might as well pack it up there, although we'll get to the fact that they teased a little comeback. But Hedl losing it below the goal line. I don't know what Fox and Miller are doing in the neutral zone, but the great Kaapo Kakko lost his man there, and Shane Wright tapping in front of the net. Miller, though, not too long after responded, fired from a weird angle, went off Grubauer and in, which again, why did you not just fire more pucks on the guy? Do not understand it. And then you had another great play. Fox gets it up the ice. Panarin slows it down like he does, gets it down the Trocheck. Lafreniere wide open, buries it. And that brought life into the building. I thought maybe they were going to tie it and win, but Yanni Gourde said no. Fox stick checking there on the empty netter either way. Can't break that up, and that was all she wrote. It's just, I can't understand why this team is incapable of playing competent hockey. And then you also had the one where Lindgren just ices it, and Fox and Lindgren just switching sides there in front of the net. Fox isn't tying Bjorkstrand up in front. And Jonathan Quick did not play well either. I'll say that. Jonathan Quick did not play well either in this game. As much as I get on Igor for wanting his 11.5 and getting his 11.5, Jonathan Quick did not look good today. Just really did not. And I get that the defense in front of him was terrible, but this goes back to the conversation of why I did not want them to pay Igor until they are able to get to the deadline and assess where they're at. Because if this is the play in front of the goaltending, it's not a smart idea. It was not a smart idea to pay your goalie, because there's only so much he's going to be able to cover up for you. There's only so much he could do when Ryan Lindgren is playing the way he is, when Keandre Miller is as Jekyll and Hyde as he is. As much as the second line was great offensively at points, once again, they just ignore the play in the D zone. And the fourth line too. I mean, Sam Carrick is just terrible. He's awful. I cannot believe. I can believe, but the fact that he was the second free agent off the board is just wild. But either way, the point still remains. This is why I wanted to wait for them to get to the trade deadline to assess where they're at before making a decision here. And they didn't do it. Maybe they overplayed their hand. We'll find out. As only time will tell on that one. I can't sit here on December 8th of 2024 and tell you that it's all downhill from here. But from the projection of it, I just can't understand and rationalize why they did not wait to get to the deadline to assess where they're at before doing anything with Igor. Because it's just not good enough to play in front. And I know Igor obviously wasn't in net, but it still remains with Quick. The defense in front, there is no structure. Nobody's buying into playing that side of the puck. And you're just not going to win a Stanley Cup. You're not going to win playoff rounds. You're not going to win playoff games. You're not going to go anywhere playing that way. And they continue to do it night in and night out. And that's my problem. But either way, yeah. I'm going to get to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Leave a like if you have not already. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I think those were all my thoughts on the game entirely. I'm not sure if I don't think I had anything else that I really wanted to mention other than it's just, again, infuriating where you question a lot of things. And the other thing that you have to question too is if they... Because right now, with where they are, and I get it's only December, but right now, the fact that they might end up having to be in a battle here to make the playoffs, that might not do them favors come playoff time. And obviously, we cross that bridge when we get there, but I just... They're putting themselves in such a horrible position and fumbling so many opportunities and points here. And it's just a disgrace because it's a lot of self-inflicted wounds with this team. And the fact that Seattle did that to you, I don't even want to know what a better team would have done against you. But yeah. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat right now. It's time to say goodbye to Miller. Find an actual number 2 for Fox. His buddy Lindgren, Golden Days are behind him. He is a number 5 at best. I don't even think he's that right now. I genuinely think that he's not an NHL defenseman on a team with cup aspirations. That's my opinion. I don't see that type of defenseman. He could play for a team that's rebuilding maybe a team that's on the playoff line, like on the fence, like an Ottawa Senators, a Philadelphia Flyers. But a team that has cup aspirations, no. You can't have Ryan Lindgren on your blue line. The days are behind him. And good for what... I'm thankful for what he's done for this team, but the game has left him. And there was no reason to pay him and bring him back this offseason. So, how many times did I talk about it on this channel, guys? How many times did I bring it up on this channel that they needed to move on from Ryan Lindgren? And that's where, again, I don't love what they did this offseason. I'm not talking about Miller. I'm talking about Lindgren on that one. Rangers look soft because they are soft. I mean, how many times were they getting beat below the goal line? Again, that's another tendency that's the other point that I wanted to bring up that I forgot. This team gets beat below the goal line so much. Like, it's painful to watch them play below the goal line. They rarely come away with the puck. And they were for part of this game. And that's what's annoying. Reininger turning into a worse stall, barely surviving on the ice due to the injuries. Exactly. You got to find someone. You got to find someone because, and this is why they had to do it over the summer, in my opinion. And now it's like, you can move him, but I don't know until the deadline who you're going to get. They should have done it this summer. It's like the Trouba thing. They should have forced that opportunity, forced their hand with Trouba in the summer. Because we'd be looking at a lot different of a team right now. And yeah, just things would be a lot different. And it is a shame because Miller, there are times he shows flashes and the tools of being a legit defenseman. And he just doesn't. Let's see. Laviolette, what did he say? Head coach Laviolette on the Rangers defensively. The goals were the chances. That was it. We had the pieces in place, and when it came down to the point where it had to be defended, it got loose. Definitely not what you're looking for. You're in charge of a game 3-1, and like I said, the chances were goals. We could have been tighter and better in those situations, you think? Terrible. Unbelievable. Some of the Ranger players mentioned the positivity of climbing back in the third period, but Peter Laviolette didn't feel there were any positives. We just lost in our building, so that just once again shows to me, though, that there's clearly a disconnect going on here. The players are complacent, and the coach, there's only so much he could do when the personnel is what it is. And this is it. Yeah, they didn't crash the goal enough. The rebounds were there for them all game. And yeah, this also, they were out of position. Miller chased out of position there when he shouldn't have. And that too, that line would be better if they weren't terrible in their own end. One thing I'm thankful for, by the way, is that Soto did not sign during this game. Completely unrelated, but it just came on my mind that I'm so thankful that did not happen. That would have just distracted me so much. But could he please sign? Because I don't want to have to worry about it tomorrow night. Sorry, just got distracted by that because I'm sorry that I keep looking at my phone. I can't help it. I'm just waiting for this guy to sign. And yeah, Quick did play terrible. You could say it's a positive in comparison to the previous efforts. They clawed back to close, but still not nearly good enough. They can't settle for that as acceptable, and that's what I'm saying, yeah. Like, great that they were able to claw back, but that's not an excuse to take your foot off the gas in the first place. Sadly, I'm with you, JT, on that one. Sadly, I'm with you. They did have a choice. You wait until the deadline, see where you're at, and you either extend him then or you trade him. That's my opinion. And yeah, they never should have fell behind in the first place. That's really what it comes down to. You play the Blackhawks tomorrow. You got to win that one. I don't think Igor's going to be back tomorrow, so it's probably going to be Garon's NHL debut. So that's going to be interesting. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dave. I figured I'd leave that up for the season. And this is my point, Paul. Yeah, they didn't do enough this offseason. Especially with the way Florida beat them. I don't understand how they sat on their hands so much with the clear deficiencies that were there. I don't get it. And yeah, Mrazek's out, so you should be beating them. Oh yeah, for sure, but I just really wanted to get it because of the whole thing, and I thought it'd be nice to have that in the background for the season. I appreciate that. I really do. I don't even see this anymore, honestly. I don't think anyone wants to give Lindgren a long-term deal. I think that ship has finally sailed. If there is anyone that wants to, then I don't know what's wrong with them. There's got to be something going on in their heads, but, and that's a nice way of putting it, but yeah, I don't think anyone really wants him staying long-term at this rate. I just don't think there's anyone. And yeah, they're too soft to play against. Look at the way Seattle responded, because they were talking about it on the broadcast. Look at the way they responded when Chris Tanev went to the bench, started yelling at his own teammates, saying, let's wake the fuck up and play the right way. Look at the difference in how Seattle responds to that type of message versus the Rangers when they have to respond. And maybe, but I don't think he's going to get moved. I don't think he's going to get moved between today and tomorrow's game. I think that unless that was the reason Mackey got called up, at the same time, if Mackey's getting called up, I think that was just for a seventh defenseman, but I don't see a move happening that soon. I could be entirely wrong. I think they would wait until after tomorrow's game if Lindgren's getting moved at all. And even then, I don't think that's going to happen. JT, thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. Jury strategy. Let's wait until a player's value is at their lowest to trade them. Pretty much. Yes. Pretty much. And this also, Seattle, They were playing good straight line hockey. They were so much better moving the puck up the ice, so much better in transition, so much better at getting below the goal line and winning the battles that they need to. And that's the most important thing, is that they were able to do that, and the Rangers have an inability of that. And this could be the case too. Vakanainen, when he's ready to go, maybe they'll move Lindgren then. And I always said that maybe when they acquired Vakanainen, that was the idea. And this too, stick checking doesn't cut it. It just does not at all. And that's how they play in the D zone. Do I think Kreider is getting traded? I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe, but I'm not sure. Can they please ditch man-on-man defense? They give up the middle of the ice so easily and blow their assignments blatantly on every goal. That's what I don't understand either. You don't have the personnel to play man-on-man, and they continue to do it. I just don't understand. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm sorry for keeping it short. I just got a really bad headache, number one. Number two, this game really doesn't have a lot more to dissect, honestly. I think I pretty much hit on every point that I wanted to. And there's really not much more to add, considering it's similar patterns to what we've seen. And it's to a point where there's really not much more to say. We just have to hope the results get better, especially because you paid the goalie $11.5 million. You're too in deep now to go and turn around and blow everything up entirely. So I'm not in love with where things are at, but this is what it is. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.